Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, I'm at the Rolling Creek Trailhead, which is between segment 3 and 4 on the Colorado Trail. And today I'm doing just a little train up hike. Going to hike up segment 4. It's about a 2,000 foot elevation gain here over a few miles, probably like 4, I think 5 maybe. So it shouldn't be too bad, but I want to just kind of get my lungs used to the altitude. I've been living at about a mile high, but this is going to be about twice that here by the time I get done. Hopefully today. I'll get a little bit late start, a little bit later than I wanted, of course. And we'll see how things progress today. See how my knee does, see how my heart does, and we'll go from there. All right, let's go hike on. Well, I'm at I think 47.1 on the gut hooks mileage. Kind of about 1.5. At about 1.1, the trail emerged with this Forest Service road, and it kind of got steep. The trail itself was not too bad until it hooked up to this Forest Service road. The pack that I'm wearing right now is it's not my Catalyst, it's my Circuit. I've got it loaded with about 20 pounds of miscellaneous gear and some water and a little bit of food for snacks for today, just to get something on my back. I'm doing pretty good. The heart is at its max beats permitted, which is 130, limited by my Bastolic beta blocker. But I'm just grinding away. Not too bad. It's nice and quiet out here. I've only seen one other person, and they were headed back to the cars. All right, time to hike on. At 1.9 on gut hooks, so we'll call it about 2 in, and we entered the Lost Creek Wilderness area. Bicycles can't come in here, so there's actually a bike path detour around this area that maybe they already had to take. We'll see if I can see it. I didn't see it anywhere as I came up. And we need to get a permit to keep walking, even if I'm just doing a day hike. So I'm going to stop and fill that out. That really was pretty easy. They just want to know who you are, where you're from, zip code, what date did you come in, what date are you leaving, are you going to stop and camp anywhere, where, how many people, where you plan to exit. So for me it was just, they had a pre-stamped Rolling Creek Trailhead, and I put just the exit Rolling Creek Trailhead, and just down in the explanation just say I'm doing a day hike in and out, and tear it off. There's no fee. They just want to keep track of the wilderness use, so that worked out pretty well. It was I would say it was a somewhat of a strenuous hike up, about a 0.8, but nothing like on the AT, nothing half as steep and as long as that Sassafras Mountain or Trey Mountain there in North Georgia. So nothing like climbing up Albert Mountain at all. So if I'd already had 10 nights in me or so, I wouldn't even have thought twice about that climb up. So, and now this is a very pleasant trip, very pleasant trail here. Looks like it might be a little steep and rocky here in a minute. So some more fun begins. See you later. Well, that little ascent wasn't too bad. Can you hear the wind going through the trees? I love that sound. I love the smell. It's going to take you with me for a little bit here. All right, see you later, bye. One thing I'm noticing, and there was a nice dry campsite at 41.1 miles. It's not on any of the guides or the gut hook. Here's a dry camp site. And it seems like there's probably a lot of campsites that are not indicated. That can surely be used. There's a nice one here. There's another one down right over there. You can see it, the circle fire ring, although no fire is allowed right now. But there's plenty of flat spots up in here to put tents, hammocks all over the place. So I think there's a lot more options than what the guidebook shows. Okay, well the data book shows a campsite at 42.4, which I did not see. This is at 42.9. I have a feeling that's the same one. There was a part of the trail back that it looks like they had restructured the trail. And maybe the mileage is now off a little bit. I'll let you know because there's a seasonal stream coming up, and I'll compare the data book to the gut hook, and I'll tell you what the difference might be. Well, the seasonal spring and my position line up perfectly on gut hooks here. So I would say that last campsite was a different one than the one that's listed in the data book, or the data book mileage might be off just a little bit, just so you know, but not much here. If I was desperate, I could scoop, probably very carefully, some right out of there, and it would probably work. I've had worse water sources. All right, continuing on. All right, another great campsite at 43.3, right in the middle of two seasonal water sources. Taking my first break, other than just a quick minute or two, but this is my no kidding real break here. I'm gonna eat a little bit of food, drink some water. It's I've consumed almost a liter. I've gone 3.8 miles in about 2 hours, so that's not too bad. Yeah, so far I met one hiker just down close to the trailhead, and then I came across another young gal going the opposite way from me. And it's kind of funny because I kind of pulled her to the side of the trail, and she wouldn't walk way up on the trail. She took that whole social distancing thing to about a 10-foot span. I don't know, maybe because I'm old with a beard, she's afraid that I might, she might kill me or something. But anyway, pleasant experience, but it's kind of funny how people react when they're not quite sure how to react. Oh, it's so nice sitting here, cool breeze. I don't know if you can hear the trees, the wind blowing through the trees or not. I'll be quiet here for a second. I don't know if you can hear that or not. I hope you can. Okay, so 45.2, right before the long, about 800-foot climb here on this section. There's a campsite here, and what looks like and sounds to be a water source is actually running. So that might be a good choice for somebody. That last water source was nice and cold. It was maybe about 0.15 ago. Just kind of come up a little hill here, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4 fire rings and enough trees to, oh man, hang a whole village of Ewoks. So yeah, that's a good water source there before the big climb, and good camping spots if anybody's interested in that information. All right, hiking on. Well, it's about, 3:20 in the afternoon. My turnaround time was 3 o'clock, which represented half the time between the time that I started hiking and sunset. So I got here later than I wanted. I had 3 goals. One, to get to the campsite that my friend Jess and I are going to hike to next month. Didn't make that goal before I ran out of time. The second goal was to get to the top of this long climb. And I've still got another 1.5 miles to go, and it's dishing it out like the AT did, especially this last part here. It's reminds me of some of those tall grinding climbs. The third goal I had was to reach 10,000 feet, so I'm standing right now at 10,020. So I'll take the one goal, knowing that I've got about a 6.9 trek back down to the parking lot. So that's going to be just shy of 14 miles for the day of mountain hiking with a 20-pound pack. So I think that's a good train up for this next weekend, when my son and I are going to hike sections 1, 2, and 3, and we'll see how that goes. All right, everybody. If I see anything on the way back of interest, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll see you back at the car. Well, it's about 5 o'clock. Shadows are starting to get a little long. Breeze is blowing. It's very nice. I met quite a few nice people today. First through hiker Tom, and he's here locally from Boulder. No trail name yet. Came across another gal whose trail name is Gold Dust, and she wanted a new trail name for this trail, so I gave her a trail name of Trail Dust then, and she liked that, so she's going to be Trail Dust. She was going to through hike, but then just got a phone call that she got a job offer, so she'll be hiking until July and then go to her new job. So I have been on a quest for shoes. If you followed my channel, in 2016 I hiked in Loa Renegade GTXs, put 1,000 miles on my pair before I came home hurt. I bought a replacement pair, and since I had them, I went ahead and used those when I returned to the trail in 2017, and put another 400 and 20 miles or so on those, and decided that, okay, I'm going to try some trail runners. Seems like that's the thing to do, right? So I got myself a pair of La Sportiva Wildcats, but I'd already hurt my ankle in the boot. I thought I'd turned it. Then I thought maybe I'd had a hairline fracture or something. Turned out I had torn my Achilles tendon. So going into it's kind of ironic, because had I stayed in the boot, I probably would have had the support to keep walking. But because I went to the trail runner, I noticed quite quickly that I had articulation problems. I kept falling into the streams when I was trying to cross over rocks, because I couldn't pump my foot and rotate. It had no strength, no power. So I ended up getting off the trail, and after it seemed like an eternity, I got up in May, and it took until November to get an authorization for a MRI, because the x-ray kept showing nothing. That's when I discovered I'd actually shredded my Achilles tendon, and you may have followed me with that and going through the stem cell therapy and everything else. And anyway, so today, well, let's see. Then I was jumping on the ultra bandwagon. Had a pair of 3.5s, but they kept when I'd use them around the house, like if I was up on the roof on an incline trying to go sideways, the shoe wanted to just rotate around my foot, and it's almost like my feet were too narrow for that. And And I tried the second pair of the Los Sportivas after that, and they still were very slippery and really tight on my feet. I went to a pair of 4.0 Ultras, and in the end took them back to REI because I just couldn't get them to work for me, and I kept having problems with plantar fasciitis. And when I talked to the podiatrist that helped me out with my Achilles tendon, he told me that zero drop footwear is where he gets most of his business for Achilles tendon injuries, and recommended that I not go zero drop. Well, so darn it, now I'm pretty frustrated. And then Ultra came out with a Ferox Pro, which was a low hiker, and I was wearing that for a while, and pretty good results with no plantar fasciitis, but my wife had been using a pair of Hoka One Ones, the Bondi 6s, and she really liked them a lot. And then I watched a guy hike the Colorado Trail who was wearing a pair of Hoka One Ones Stinson GTR 4s, I think, and he did a review on them, and he put over 1,000 miles on them, and he mentioned that he had had problems with plantar fasciitis, but it stopped with these particular shoes. So I decided, well, let me try it. Well, so I've got a pair of the Hokas. These are the Hoka One Stinson GTR 5s, and right now I've got about 50 some miles on them, 10 of which now I've hiked on them today, and my feet are feeling really good. They're just like walking on marshmallows, and they've got a nice wide toe box. Let me show you again. You know, so they got the nice wide toe box a lot of people like. It's I think it's a 5 millimeter drop, so it's not quite zero. So it's got a little bit of a drop to it, and oh man, this EVA molding on it is really nice. So the time will tell when I get home tonight and I stop walking and I get up to walk. If I can't walk on my feet, then there's not a lot of difference from any other pair of footwear. But if it's not bothersome to walk, then I think I may have found my trail runners to hike in finally, after all this time and after all these years. All right, that was what you just heard was my it's not DeLorme anymore, it's Garmin InReach. That's one of my agreements with my wife at my age to hike, is that I have to carry this so that there's GPS tracking on me, and I've got the ability to send to SOS, and I've got the ability to send updates. So, all right, it's a beautiful day. Wish you guys were here. Trail's going real well. We will see you at the parking lot. Hey everybody, as you can see, this is not the parking lot. Got back to the trailhead and got distracted because there was a hiker there that was in some distress. He is out of food and out of water, and needed some help. So I kind of got engaged with helping him out, and forgot to do a wrap up. Did about 12 miles according to the InReach on the trip GPS tracker. So, and that matched up pretty well with what Guthook said. A couple of lessons learned from the hike. Number one, this time of year, seasonal water sources are not. They're either just mud puddles. There was one that I showed you that if it was desperate we could have used, and there was one flowing in that was it almost 6 miles up that huge climb that I only got 1/3 of the way up on. So anyway, there's a lot more campsites that are not published and not talked about. They're not on the Guthooks. They're not in the data book. So and it seems like most of those seasonal water sources, I think all but maybe one had a campsite nearby. and there were a lot of other campsites that could be used. If you were hammocking, there's plenty of trees to be able to hammock on in that particular section, that's that segment 4. So, all right, so yeah, seasonal, don't count on them, and seems like there's plenty of campsites to not stress out. So as long as you make sure you carry water for dry camp, there's a lot of options to stop. So if you're really hurting and you want to stop early, that's always an option. Or if you got to go on because the campsite's full, there's probably another spot not too far away. So don't be afraid of that. So, all right, I'm not sure what's coming up next. I've got about 50 some miles now on those Stinson One ATR 5s. Really liking them. Got to give them a thumbs up right now. If you're thinking about them and you've got plantar fasciitis issues, zero drop shoes don't work for you, or the ultras don't work for you, try the Hoka Ones, and I think that might be a win for you. My daughter has really bad plantar fasciitis issues because she's got a super high arch she inherited from my mother-in-law, and those have been doing really well for her. So just throw that out there for y'all. All right, let's see. In the works, a segment 1, 2, and 3 hike with my son, probably in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, I'm going out to visit my other son out in a place called Eagle Mountain, Utah, and we might hike up Mount Timpanogos. So that might be the next series I post on YouTube. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the hike that I showed you for today, and take care, everybody. Bye.